practicing the proper etiquette, or if he did not become a Vaishnava, then all of this knowledge which he has acquired will be lost at the time of death. Proper etiquette increases fame, opulence, longevity, and it destroys all inauspiciousness. O king, proper etiquette gives the results of dharma, artha, and karma. Therefore, a wise man very carefully performs the proper etiquette described, if the scriptures. It's supposed to be in the scripture, right? Thus one can understand that Vaishnava etiquette purifies the heart and the consciousness. Now here are some basic principles and points that I have compiled from the Hari Bhakti Vilas and the nectar of devotion about the proper activities of one who is a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava. 1. Offer respects and obeisances to the Guru, to the Lord and his devotees, and to other superiors. One must offer respect and obeisances to the superiors, like the Guru, the Lord and his devotees. We must also respect superior relatives, like the parents. 2. Get up before 4 a.m. and attend Mangal Arati. 3. After waking up, first brush your teeth and afterwards take a bath. Who wouldn't do that? 4. Bathe after passing stool. 5. Wash with water after passing urine. Also, wash hands and feet. Wash hands, feet and mouth before and after taking prasadam. That's the 6th. We must at least wash our hands. If the Western countries, it may be difficult to wash our feet. But if India, you should wash both your hands and your feet before and after taking prasad. 7. Wash hands before drinking water. This done because when you hold your cup while drinking, your hands actually become contaminated. 8. Use the right hand for eating and drinking. Even if you are lefty, try to use your right hand. Wow. 9. Mother Indira, I want to repeat that one, so please use the right hand for eating and drinking, even if you is lefty. Try to use your right hand. 9. Always wear clean clothes. 10. Never steal anything. 11. Never use unpleasant words. 12. Never tell a lie, even if it is pleasant. That is, don't even tell a pleasant lie. 13. Never speak ill of others. 14. Do not become inimical to others. 15. Do not develop friendship with people who are envious, fallen, insane, inimical, extravagant, deceptive, lying, or illicitly related with women. Do not develop relationship with unchaste women. 16. Do not travel alone. 17. Do not sneeze or yawn without covering your mouth. 18. Do not laugh loudly. So Lakshmana. 19. Do not pass air loudly. 20. Always avoid a crematorium, a garden, and an unchaste woman at night. I'll repeat that one. Always avoid a crematorium, a garden, and an unchaste woman at night. Do not take shelter of a fall F person? F-A-L-E-F? That's not the correct spelling. It's supposed to be a fallen person, right?
There's some mistake.
Yeah. 22. Neither sleep too much nor stay awake too much. How would you know what is too much? Do not outstretch your legs in front of others. It marked elders. You know, there should be others. Eh? 24. Do not pass urine or stool. It's supposed to be on the road, like mark off the road. Do not spit while eating. 26. Do not insult women. 27. Do not become envious of women. 28. Never cause any harm to anyone. Instead, always try to do good to others. 29. Do not associate with unscrupulous people or read scriptures that are not bona fide. Scriptures are if quotes, which means they are so-called scriptures. 30. Do not mock people who are foolish, insane, distressed, ugly, cunning, lame, or fallen. 31. Do not chastise anyone except sons and disciples to educate them. We got to read this every day. 32. Bathe after shaving, copulating, or going to crematorium. 33. Do not hit anyone. It's supposed to be on the head, not off the head, or pull anyone by the hair. 34. Do not eat yogurt or chickpea flour at night. It is dangerous for your health. Actually, Prabhupada instructed us about yogurt, but we are not so sure about the chickpeas. So you be careful about that now. Don't eat chickpea at night. If the morning, so in the morning they are good, but not at the night. 35. I will finish. If someone insults you, leave the place silently. Don't make an alarm. 36. Never praise yourself. Oh, I am good. I know I'm good. 37. Never look at a naked woman or man. 38. Do not place your foodstuff on your lap to eat. Huh? I'm guilty. 39. Do not quarrel with your wife. Dattavara. Dattavara don't do that one. Giri Govardhan. Oh, Giri Govardhan admitted. 40. Do not spit off water. Oh, it's supposed to be on. Do not spit on water.
That's a mistake.
Because people sometimes drink water from ponds or lakes or rivers. One should not spit on water. 41. Do not sleep in the temple room. Hear that? Patita. 42. Sannyasis should bathe 3 times a day. Grihastas and brahmacharis at least twice a day. 43. After one takes prasadam, the area where the plate was kept must be clean. It's not clear, right? in many temples, that after we take prasad, which is usually on the floor, we just step over. Then without even washing our feet, we enter into the temple room. So one should be careful about that. That the place where we take prasadam becomes contaminated. And if you step on that spot, then you must wash your feet. The place where the prasadam has been taken must be clean right after the prasadam has been taken. Because the temple must be very clean, we should be careful that we do not unnecessarily contaminate the temple. 44. After touching the inside of the mouth or nose, one must wash his hands. 45. After putting on tilak, one must do achman by saying Om Keshavaya Namaha, Om Narayana Namaha, Om Madhava Namaha. So those are some of the basic principles by which a Vaishnava acts. We'll be going over many of these points in details later in our classes. So second subject matter is becoming a Vaishnava devotee of Krishna, which will be there tomorrow. His Divine Grace Bhakti Charu Swami ki. So we're reading from the Krishna book, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. I don't know that. Krishna, 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 Krishna. That's a different tune, right? Krishna, 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 Shanam. Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Rama, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Hare Thank you very much, Balaji. So reading from page 104. At that time, the calves that were pasturing nearby entered into the deep forest, allured by new grasses, and gradually went out of sight. When the boys saw that the calves were not nearby, they became afraid of their safety, and they immediately cried out, Krishna! Krishna is the killer of fear personified. Everyone is afraid of fear personified, but fear personified is afraid of Krishna. By crying out the word Krishna, the boys at once transcend the fearful situation. Out of his great affection, Krishna did not want his friends to give up their pleasing lunch engagement and go searching for the calves. He therefore said, My dear friends, you need not interrupt your lunch. Go on, enjoy it. I am going personally to find the calves. Thus Lord Krishna, still carrying the lumps of yogurt and rice preparation in his left hand, immediately started to search out the calves in the caves and bushes. He searched in the mountain holes and in the forest, but nowhere could he find them. At that time, when Agasura was killed and disciples were looking on the incident with great surprise. Brahma, who was born of the lotus flower growing out of the navel of Vishnu, also came to see. He was surprised how a little boy like Krishna could act so wonderfully. Although he was informed that the little cowherd boy was the supreme personality, he wanted to see more of the Lord's glorious pastimes. And thus he stole all the calves and cowherd boys and took them to the different places. Lord Krishna, therefore, in spite of searching for the calves, could not find them, and he even lost his boyfriends on the bank of the Yamuna, where they have been taking their lunch. In the form of a cowherd boy, Lord Krishna was very little in comparison to Brahma. But because he is the supreme personality of Godhead, Jai Shri Gauranitai, Shri Radha Gopinath Ki. But because he is the supreme personality of Godhead, he could immediately understand that all the calves and boys had been stolen by Brahma. Krishna thought, Brahma has taken away all the boys and calves. How can I alone return to Vrindavan? The mothers will be aggrieved. Therefore, in order to satisfy the mothers of his friends, as well as to convince Brahma of the supremacy of the personality of Godhead, he immediately expanded himself as the cowherd boys and calves. In the Vedas it is said that the supreme personality of Godhead has already expanded himself in so many living entities by his energy. Therefore, it was not very difficult for him to expand himself again into so many boys and calves. He expanded himself to become exactly like the boys, who were all different features and facial and bodily construction, and who were different in their clothing and ornaments, and in their behavior and personal activities. In other words, although each boy, being an individual soul, had entirely different tastes, activities, and behavior, Krishna exactly expanded himself into all the different positions of the individual boys. He also became the calves, who were also of different sizes, colors, and activities, etc. This was possible because everything is an expression of Krishna's energy. In the Vishnu Purana it is said, Parasya Brahmana Sakti. Whatever we actually see in the cosmic manifestation, be it matter or the activities of the living entities, is simply an expansion of the energy of the Lord. As heat and light are the different expansions of fire. So, okay. Thus, expanded himself from the Lord, right? Is the Bible says, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 4, Canto 4, text 37, chapter 12. Huh? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki. So, I am not so good in reading Sanskrit, so the beginners don't do it right. Let me see if I try. Yeah, that's okay. Text 37. So, Om Jnana Timirasya Jnanam Jnanam Shalakaya Chakshura Militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayaivacha patitanam pavanabhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayaivacha patitanam pavanabhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, One more.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Everyone pluck up their hands and close their eyes, please. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you very much. So read it from Canto 4, chapter 12, text 37. So the diviners know what happened. Santaha Sama. Huh? No, but I want to get the tone of the suits. Santa Sama Trisa Sudha Sarva Bhutanu Ranjanaha Yanti Anjan Just Achyuta Padam Achyuta Priya Bandhava Santaha Samadrista Sudaha Sarva Bhutanu Ranjanaha Yanti Anjas Achyuta Padam Achyuta Priya Bandhava. Just for my purification, I will repeat it one more time. Santaha Samadristaha Sudha Sarva Bhutanus Nura Ranjanaha Yanti Anjas Achyuta Padam Achyuta Priya Bandhava. Santa Samadrisa Sudaha Sarva Bhutanu Ranjanaha Yanti Anjas Achyuta Padam Achyuta Priya Bandhava. Santa Samadrisa Sudaha Sarva Bhutanu Ranjanaha Yanti Anjas Achyuta Padam Achyuta Priya Bandhava. Patita. Santa Samadrista Sudaha Sarva Bhutanu Ranjanaha Yanti Anjas Achyuta Padam Achyuta Priya Bandhava. Mataji's
Santa Samadriha Sura
Santaha Samadrisa Sudaha
Sarva Bhutanu Ranjana
Sarva Bhutanu Ranjanaha
Yanti Aja Achyuta Param
Yanti Anjas Achyuta Padam
Achyuta Priya Bana
Achyuta Priya Bandhava. Panarupavati. So translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Oh, what? Santa peaceful.
Peaceful.
Samadrisaha
Samadhisaha.
equipoise.
Equipoise.
Sudaha
Sudaha.
cleansed.
Cleansed.
Purified.
Purified.
Sarva
Sarva.
all. Bhuta
Bhuta.
living entities.
Living entities.
Anuranjanaha
Anuranjana.
pleasing.
Pleasing.
Yanti
Yanti.
go.
Go.
Anjasa
Anjasa.
easily.
Easily.
Achyuta
Achyuta.
of the Lord.
Of the Lord.
Padam
Padam.
to the abode.
To the abode.
Achyuta Priya
Achyuta Priya.
with devotees of the Lord.
With devotees of the Lord.
Bandhavaha
Bandavaha.
friends.
Friends.
So translation. Persons who are peaceful, equipoised, cleansed and purified, and who know the art of pleasing all other living entities, keep friendship only with devotees of the Lord. They alone can very easily achieve the perfection of going back home, back to Godhead. So please repeat. Persons who are peaceful,
Persons who are peaceful,
equipoised,
equipoised,
cleansed,
cleansed,
and purified,
purified,
and who know the art of pleasing all
and who know the art of pleasing all
other living entities,
other living entities,
keeps friendship
keeps friendship
only with devotees of the Lord.
only with devotees of the Lord.
They alone
They alone
can very easily
can very easily
achieve the perfection
achieve the perfection
of going back home,
of going back home,
back to Godhead.
back to God.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Ki jai.
So, I forget to make remember, the chapter is based on Dhruv Maharaj goes back to Godhead. This is the topic, right? So, purport by His Divine Grace, please pay careful attention. This is the words of Swami Prabhupada. The description of this verse fully indicates that only devotees are eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. The first point stated is that devotees are peaceful, for they have no demands for their personal sense gratification. They are simply dedicated to the service of the Lord. Karmis cannot be peaceful because they have immense demand for sense gratification. As for the Jnanis, they cannot be peaceful because they are too busy trying to attain liberation or merge into the existence of the Supreme. Similarly, yogis are also restless to get mystic powers. But a devotee is peaceful because he is fully surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thinks of himself as completely helpless, just as a child feels complete peace in depending on the parent. So a devotee is completely peaceful, for he depends on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A devotee is equipoised. He sees everyone on the same transcendental platform. A devotee knows that although a conditioned soul has a particular type of body, according to his past fruitive activities, factually, everyone is part of the Supreme Lord. A devotee sees all living entities with spiritual vision and does not discriminate on the platform of the bodily conception of life. Such qualities develop only in the association of devotees. Without the association of devotees, one cannot advance in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, we have established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Factually, whoever lives in this society automatically develops Krishna consciousness. Devotees adhere to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is only there to devotees. On this platform, only can one make progress in Krishna consciousness. Person in Krishna consciousness or devotees of the Lord can please everyone, as is evident in the Krishna consciousness movement. We invite everyone without discrimination. We request everyone to sit down and chant Hare Krishna mantra and take as much prasad as we can supply. And thus everyone is pleased with us. This is the qualification. Sarva bhutanu ram jana. As for purification, no one can be more pure than devotees. Anyone who once uttered the name of Vishnu immediately becomes purified inside and outside. Yat smarit pundarikaksham. Since the devotee constantly chants the Hare Krishna mantra, no contamination of the material world can touch him. He is therefore actually purified. Muchi haya suchi haya yadi Krishna bhaje. It is said that even a cobbler or person born in the family of a cobbler can be elevated to the position of a Brahman, Suchi, if he takes to Krishna consciousness. Any person who is purely Krishna conscious and who engages in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the purest in the whole universe. It finished so fast. And now begin to taste the nectar. Namo Vishnu Padaya.
You can taste your front, you can taste.
No, I know. I enjoy it. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Vishnu Kristaya, Vishnu Guru, Vishnu Padaya, Vishnu Kristaya, Vishnu Bhakti Vedanta Swami Dina. So, as insignificant in an attempt to say a few words on this verse, first I must take the blessings and the mercy of all the Vaishnavas that is present, being seen and unseen, so that I may endeavor to please my spiritual master and my grand spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So, in my small attempt to explain here, as the purport is very distinctly explaining to us that devotees are very rare species. They are the most rarest in the world. Because here in the purport, he says not even the Gyanis, the Yogis, the Karmis, the Yogis and the Gyanis, they are not even peaceful. So therefore, the Karmis, they are busy gratifying the senses. The Gyanis are very busy trying to get some liberation, and the Yogis, they are restless to attract some mystic power. Because in their line of approaching the Lord as a yogi, they want to be recognized as very powerful. But here, those who are practicing to be bhaktas or devotees of the Lord, they are very equiposed, or we are supposed to be equiposed. We are supposed to be cleansed and purified at heart. But how can we reach the position of a devotee? A devotee is supposed to see everyone on the same transcendental platform. Are we on that platform? Can we really see everyone as a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Well, actually, this is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Prabhupada, who came from the deep east, bringing to the Western world the medication to cure us from this disease. Otherwise, we in this Western world will be so much lost in the sense gratification and being lost in seeking to purify and glorify our senses. We will not be equiposed. In some Sunday program I was speaking about how impure our minds are. Our mind has two parts. It has a subconscious and a conscious part. And all these previous conditions is within our heart. But we are very fortunate because we have Swami Prabhupada who came to the Western world to help us, to bring us to the state of making inquiry, who am I? We are so busy running the rat race that we don't even make an inquiry, who am I? Where did I come from? What the ultimate purpose of life is. I heard one sannyasi says, what is the sense going fast down the highway but in the wrong direction? It doesn't have no value to us. And our lives without following the direction of our grand spiritual master Swami Srila Prabhupada, it means that our life, we can end up in a ditch. So here in this verse, Dhruv Maharaj, or the purport is explaining that a devotee is equiposed. We are not even beginning to be a devotee. But yet, the book, Prabhupada is saying, yes, even if you chant Vishnu name once, you burn away, or you become free immediately from all these past reactions. But in some part of the Vedas I have heard that one who chants Vishnu, 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 even if you chant Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu 1,000 times, this is good. But one who is little more intelligent and advanced, if he say Ram, Ram, Ram 3 times, he equals this 1,000 Vishnu. And those who are a little more advanced in consciousness and taking proper shelter and guidance from our grand spiritual master, and he can say Krishna once. He equates those who call out Ram, Ram, Ram. And he also, at the same time, simultaneously equate out chanting Vishnu, Vishnu 1,000 times. So this is how powerful this name Krishna is. So if we take the proper guidance and proper shelter from our spiritual master, we are on that highway to heaven. We are on the highway back to the spiritual world. But yes, sometimes we get flat tires. Sometimes we do get flat tires. But sometimes we have to pass through little rough roads. But these little rough roads is just to make us become more stronger and firm in our determination. Just like in the Bhagavatam, in the Katha, where Kunti Mata was preaching, my dear Krishna, please put more trouble in my pathway. Is it not? So that I will always remember your holy name, Krishna. Krishna, help me. But we as sadhaka, we have to be hungry. Hungry for what? Hungry for service to Krishna. Most of us, we want service, or we practice calling Krishna name, but we fail to recognize that when we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, say, please do some service. You say, no, I already ready for that service. Yeah. But we call it out the holy name, my Lord, please engage me in your service. And here it is said, only by the association of devotees, cultivating our consciousness in that environment with devotees, can we really make advancement in Krishna consciousness. Without proper association and Vaishnava etiquette, without these qualities, and without trying our best to say things, good words, and engage sincerely, my Lord, I have begged you for service and you have given me to clean the washroom. Thank you so much. My consciousness is so impure, but you are so kind to engage me in some service. No, but in our contaminated state of consciousness, I ask for service, and you mean Daivadi Prabhu will give me to do? Clean the toilet? So it is only our sense perception. But cleaning the toilet is like cleansing our hearts, because our hearts are so impure of so much activities from lifetime after lifetime. How can we come to the stage of being a pure devotee? There doesn't purchase being a pure devotee in some market. There is no institution that is built, just like our government have University of the West Indies, we have UTT, we have so many big universities where you can go and get diplomas. How to maintain the body, eating, sleeping, mating and defending. But there is no institution that was designed and built by the government to teach us how to become a pure devotee of Krishna. Can you imagine? So these politicians and these businessmen, they always see lack. They always see that there is lack in this, there is scarcity in this, there is so much in this. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati boldly explained, the only lack that I see is Krishna consciousness. People are lacking to be Krishna conscious. It's the only lack. And Krishna consciousness means lacking love, true love, not love on the bodily aspect. Krishna consciousness means loving and caring, because when we see, we do not see on the bodily conception of life. I am Indian, I am African, I am man, I am woman, I am boy and girl. No! This is why we are taking the medicine, because we want Krishna to anoint our eyes. He told Arjun, you want to see me? Then I will give you divine eyes. And then you can see me. How many of us is endeavoring to have that divine eyes, that mercy of our Bhagavan Sri Krishna? If we beg for His mercy, following His laws is great, but begging for His mercy is even greater than His laws. Why would one say so? Hanumanji, he a pure devotee of the Lord and rendering service to the Lord. He wanted to build this bridge to Lanka for Sri Ram. But yet, everyone knows scientifically that when you put stone into water or rocks into water, what happens? It goes to the bottom. It sinks. And because Hanuman was so determined to please Sri Ram, and he had so much love and confidence and faith in Sri Ram, he decided, okay, I will write the name of Sri Ram on these rocks. And because he had so much faith, he defied the laws of God. by the mercy of God. He defied the law of gravity. And here, when he writes Shri's name on those rocks and put it out into the ocean, these rocks floated, and there he built this long bridge to Sri Lanka. So in this verse again, it is said, and Jesus Christ said, that if we have faith as small as a grain of mustard seed, and we say mountain move, the mountain will move. But we have no faith. But we must gradually take the medicine and faith will develop. This is why in our disease condition, we still perform activities despite we are disease. But Swami Prabhupada was explaining, if a man in a disease condition still performs little bit activities, imagine if he has cure of that disease, how much more activities he can perform. But there are so much people, when they become cured, thinking about themselves, how they can get out and see about themselves, they go to the Himalayas and sit down. See? So there are some selfish yogis. But here, Krishna is saying, of all my devotees, I'm sorry for being so loud, but I'm just getting a little carried away and passionate. Thank you very much. Krishna says, of all my devotees, the one that I favor the most. So what Krishna is saying there, even the karmis is his devotees, but they just choose to satisfy their senses. Even the jnanis is his devotees. The yogis is also his devotees. But he said, my bhaktas, they are very most dear to me. And of all my bhaktas, the one who risked their life by going out into the demoniac conscious world, preaching my glories of my holy name, those are the ones who taken the risk to share my name. I favor those devotees the most. Because that devotee, he is acting on behalf of Jagat Guru Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, take the medicine and go give it out. Share it to everyone you meet. Not everyone will want to accept the holy name because we are in different degrees of disease condition. But the devotee, he is so compassionate that he yet chants for others to hear, indirectly purifying them simultaneously. This is why David Renuja Prabhu and Patita Udaran in collaboration with Gupta Prabhu will go out on the street on Friday and have Harinam. This is the process. When disease is subsiding, we want to do more. But the best way to do more is to go and give what we is receiving. So here we are receiving every moment of association with Swami Prabhupada through his books, through his setting up this institution, which is known as the embassy of the spiritual world. But we do not have vision to see that we are in the spiritual world because we still are on different levels of bhaktas, praktika bhaktas, neophyte in consciousness. But this is a stage that we can rise above if we simply follow with great determination and enthusiasm. With great determination and enthusiasm, bow to the holy name, Gauranga, Nitya myself from hearing from my spiritual master, His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami. He is always saying in this katha in particular, I cannot remember exactly which is the devotee, but the devotee didn't want Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to leave. You know who is the devotee, Prabhu? I cannot remember the name. And then the devotee had Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the deity. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sleeping, he said, no, you don't go. So Mahaprabhu went and took the form of the deity, and the deity started walking out. He said, no, if the deity now becomes you, then I don't want you to leave. You go back there. So he did get confused. He didn't know who was Mahaprabhu in the deity form and Mahaprabhu in leaving. Because the deity is Mahaprabhu. And Gurudev repeats this every time he comes. So here we have Srimati Radha Krishna in our altar. He is so kind that He permitted us in our diseased state of consciousness so that we can recognize Him. And yet, because we are impure in our consciousness, we are impure in our minds, we are impure in our thoughts, and we are not hungry enough to want to see the Lord. Hence the reason what we see is the Lord is made up of some brass, or the Lord is made up of some stones. But actually, I was reading that Prabhupada says, in an advanced state of consciousness, you will only see me. So here, if the media, and if the Express and the national television, we were to announce that the Lord here is in Londonville. He appeared here in Londonville. How many people will be eager to come to see the Lord? See? But let some yogi come and express or make some little gold comes out, or make some, perform some mysticism or practice of some siddhis, make some vibhut in his hand and give you will see people like hundreds of thousands from all over the world will be eager to come to meet this yogi. And here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, they are so kind. Via the mercies of senior Vaishnavas like Patita and Devi Januja and all the first set of devotees in our country. They did whatever it takes to have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu here. And Srimati Radharani and Krishna, our eternal Mother and Father. But if we want to really see that the Lord really resides in the altar of this temple, He says we must cure this fever. This fever is compared to like our house is on fire. In other words, our house is on fire, and yet inside the house we continue doing our work like nothing is taking place. But in this rain, in a forest fire, it is nearly difficult to out a forest fire, maybe with some bucket of water, or maybe to get a hose. It is nearly impossible. But the only possibility, you can come sit, Prabhu. Yeah. Our only possibility is to beg the holy name. And by He being responsible for all cause and effects, if rain were to come down at the time of a forest fire, then what will happen? Then it will totally out that raging fire that is within our minds. And our only hope is to beg the mercy of the Lord. But how many of us understand what is the real, true prasad of the Lord? Yasya prasada bhagavat prasado. The spiritual master is the direct manifestation of the Supreme Lord. need to understand that when we approach Krishna, and Krishna sees our sincerity, and we are starting to make some purifying our consciousness, and he sees how determined we are to become purified, then Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, gives us prasad. He himself comes in the form of our spiritual master. That is our prasad. So we must honor our prasad and receive and serve the Guru as good as Krishna. The repetition or the translation to the verse while honoring the spiritual master. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way in which we can attain pure devotional service. It's the only scope for us who is really practicing Bhakti Yoga. To come to the platform of Bhakti Yoga means we must make some sacrifices. For nothing is achieved without sacrifice. But what do we mostly sacrifice for in our contaminated state of consciousness? We endeavor even to do nothing. Some people you will hear say, boy, the hardest thing to do is to do nothing. And the living entities in the age of Kali Yuga, we have become so lazy. We are unintelligent. And we does not want to do anything. But devotees of God, who wants to approach God, knows that if in the material aspect, if you want to pass an exam, you must put some endeavor. You must do some studying. You must do some sacrificing. And commit yourself until the day of that exam. And depends on how much you put into studying. When the day of the exam comes and you see your papers in front of you, then you will say, oh, this is worth it. So the exam in the human being life or in the living entity life, that final exam is at the time of death. Are we preparing for that final day? Or do we know when that day will come that we will have to leave this body? Oh, we take for granted that, oh, I will live for so long. So therefore, when my older age, then I might take to the chanting of holy name. Or maybe I understand that in the age of Kali Yuga, the Tadaka Brahmanam, for getting out of the cycle of birth and death, is chanting Krishna name. So maybe I will remember that when time of death comes. So I will go on enjoying my senses now. Eating, sleeping, mating and defending. I will try to enjoy as much as I can now. And when death comes, I will remember that Krishna name. No, it is not like that. Death is compared to, I heard one sannyasi says, it is like 1,000 bites of a scorpion. So you can imagine those who have been bitten by one scorpion can imagine how painful death is. Being bitten by 1,000 scorpions at the same time. So where will the mind and the senses be? How will we be able to remember that name Krishna at the time of death? How can we become pure devotees of Krishna if we are not willing to come out from our comfort zone? In this purport, and in the Vaishnava etiquette, we are talking about getting up early and attending Mangalarti. If you start your day right, the day will end up right and unfold right for you. This is why the Acharya Swami Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada have set up International Society for Krishna Consciousness so that we can improve moment after moment in working for pleasure of Guru and Krishna. And if we, and every thought and every action and everything that we do for the pleasure of their Lordship, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Radha Gopinath, then we are in a purified stage. We are in this disease condition. Prabhupada explained, it is just like a diseased man. A diseased man who has jaundice. Everything he tastes, it tastes bitter in that disease condition. So, Prabhupada said the cure for that disease is keep on taking more sweets. And if that jaundiced person keep on eating more sweets, despite how bitter it is, then taste will come eventually. And when taste comes, he will understand how sweet these sweets are. So too, in our disease condition, if we are hunkering and if we are begging constantly the Lord through His name and associated with His name properly, then our only hope is the Lord's mercy through His pure devotees. His divine grace, Jagat Guru Swami Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yes.
And this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the cure for our disease. Swami Prabhupada explains that this Maha Mantra is not an artificial imposition on the mind. It actually destroys all what is troublesome to the heart for many, many millions of other lifetimes. So my humble request, by seeking the Vaishnava mercy, to repeat what I have heard from other Vaishnavas, please let us follow this simple process, which is simply taken to the chanting of the holy names of God. This Maha Mantra can cleanse our dirty heart. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the first verse of his Shishashtakam, Cheto Dharpan Marchanam, by cleansing the core of the heart, by chanting the holy name, is the highest benefit for the conditioned souls. So thank you very much. I will stop here, and if there is any questions, comments, corrections, then I will now have that.
You mentioned something about a house on fire, and inside this house on fire, just eating, sleeping, mating, enjoying. Explain a little more.
It is like the fire, the disease condition of the living entity is like seeking to only gratify their senses, even though we are dying moment after moment. We are dying moment after moment, and yet we are seeking pleasure. So this is like the forest fire. This forest fire is like death, trying to devour us, and yet we are seeking enjoyment. We are seeking pleasure, despite we are in the hands of cruel death. I heard one sannyasi give an explanation, and the explanation goes like this. There is a big party, and in this party, we invite every one of you. In this party, whatever you desire for millions and millions of lifetimes, you can get at once immediately to your fullest satisfaction in this party. So whatever you desire and you never had, if you come to this party, you will achieve. But there is only one to this invitation. And the one clause to this invitation is that when you are leaving this party, we have a surprise for you. I mean, if every one of us were to get an invitation like that to attend a party where all our desires materially can be fulfilled, how many of us will not go? Almost all of us, we have so many desires. We will go to such a party where we can get all our desires fulfilled at once. Despite there is a surprise at the end of the party. And what is the surprise at the end of such party? The surprise is after you get all your desires fulfilled, whatever you want. If you want money, if you want a good wife, if you want a nice husband, if you want a big house, if you want to have a fat bank account, if you want to have nice children, you want to have a prestigious job. What is the desires of us? We want to be have nice companion. These are the desires that we have mostly. We want good health, strength. We even sometimes pray for guidance and protection. So, even if we were invited to such a party where we can get all our desires fulfilled, but despite the clause of that invitation, at the end of that party, there will be a surprise. And that surprise, after you enjoy all your desires, is that you will be killed. That is the surprise. We will shoot you at the end of the party. If any of us knew that we will have been killed at the end of the party, how many of us will attend that party? So, I want to welcome you to the material world. In the material world, you can hanker for all your satisfaction. You can hanker for eating and sleeping and mating and defending. You can build a big house. You can have your nice cars. You can work all your life seeking some temporary happiness. At the end, just to remind you, we are being forced to go through old age, disease, and death. We will die. And none of us can say when we will die. That is why the Acharya says, we are in a helpless position. We don't want to die. But yet, we will die. We must die. That is the relative platform of consciousness. That is why the great Acharya says, make good use of a bad bargain. I can go on and on, but this is now 9 o'clock, so I will stop here. Is there any more comments or questions? So we...
Just keep on preaching what you're doing there. If you could do more, let's keep on recording very, very inspirational and recording everyone in the world. That's great. And I wish I saw the motive look forward to blossom towards that endeavor.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki.